I love Such Brave Girls so much.
Thank you.
And I know the impetus for the show came from when you were under section and your sister Lizzie revealed that she was $20,000 in debt. How long did it take you to craft the series after that?
Well, when I came out, I moved home for a bit, so I was like around my sister and my mum, and like just started writing down like everything they say and like how they talk, because I was like, I have never seen this before. Like, you see like family sitcoms and like they all talk in like a very like, most of them talk in like quite a heartwarming way, and I was like, that is so not my experience. So it was like, I documented everything we talked about, and during that time I bleached Lizzie's hair for real. Like, so that became the pilot, was bleaching her hair.
This is gonna look so good though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's feminism. If it hurts loads, it must be worth doing.
Yeah.
So I kind of put that together, and then we pitched it to BBC. Then we did a series, and like, so then I just built out like every anecdote that I interviewed mum and my sister, and like put it all together. I had this crazy room of like post-it notes of like all the stories I wanted to build into the show, and then just like put it together from there. But it took a while.
And the show reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because it follows this hilarious group of narcissists that you can't help but kind of root for in all their terribleness. You know, how did you sell this idea to BBC Three and later A24?
That's like a huge compliment to compare. That's like my favourite show, so that's music to my ears. I love that. They were so on board, actually. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I think they understood what I was going for, was trying to capture like I feel like there was like this wave of like trauma comedy where it's like very much comedy drama, and you felt sorry for like the lead, or you wanted them to sympathise, and I wanted to do something that was quite tongue-in-cheek about trauma, and like make a joke about it, and like talk about it the way that I know that me and my friends talk about it. And I feel like they got on board quite quickly, which was lovely, because like that was a surprise.
How soon did Simon Bird, best known to American audiences for The In-Betweeners, come on to direct the series?
He came on after we did the pilot, and like he wrote me like a letter saying what he would do if he was a director on it. There's a way in which this goes into being a comedy drama that's really like melancholy, and he was like, I don't want that, we're gonna go for the jokes. And I was like, that's exactly what I want too. So it was like the perfect match, and he's like one of my best friends now. Like, we love him so much. He's done all of season 2. We're not gonna stop.
And I think everyone who watches Such Brave Girls doesn't realize that you and Lizzie are actually sisters until they Google it. Yeah. And then you're just delighted to learn that you're actually related. You know, was it important to cast her as Billy?
Oh, it was always going to be her. There was no world in which it was going to be anyone else. Like, she's so naturally funny, and so much of the job was working out how to translate Lizzie and like capture the bits of her character that I think is so funny and then give it to Billy. Like, because I've never seen a character like her on screen before. She's so like front-footed and like spins everything in a way that makes it work for her, and she's always a step ahead of everyone, and like I wanted to capture that so much, so it was always going to be her.
Louise is so good as the matriarch of the family. Did she get your mom's blessing to play your on-screen mother?
I think mum knows it's not hers. I think she enjoys the fact that it's like this kind of caricature of like a mum figure for us, and like she knows bits are inspired, but she knows it's not her. But they did meet for the first time like at our screening of season 2, which was so funny. I've got a picture of them stood together, which was so surreal. But Lou really is like the best comedy act. She is amazing. Like, she blows us away. The way she captures like the nuance of a character that could be like quite like big in character, like she makes it so nuanced and you believe every moment of it. Like, she's so talented. It blows our minds.
I loved how season 2 started with the fake out of Josie functioning normally in college.
Why me? Why now? Why am I here? And what gives me the right to be here?
Not me.
Where is she? I knew we'd find you in here. Embarrassing. It's all right, everyone. I'm a mother.
Did you ever toy with the notion of having the girls grow in season 2?
I did, but it's like the best comedies, I do think, like, make their characters live in purgatory. Like, you can grow a little bit, but you can't learn too much or the show's broken. Like, I feel like they all have to commit to like this mutual delusion of like the way they live is the right way to do it. So like, I couldn't change too much. Like, a big inspiration is the show Peep Show, and like the way the writers talk about they make their characters like live in hell. Like they have to remain in hell. They have that purgatory as the flat, and it was like, I think that is the best way to like make a sitcom. So they can't grow too much. Yeah. Not loud.
Well, in season 2, you also introduced Deb's sister, Aunt Wendy.
That haggard old crone is here to serve as a warning to you.
Better dead than single. You like?
You're here early?
Yeah, well, Mike used to book all my travel, but now I can take the train any time I like. Pure freedom.
Sounds lonely.
Call me lonely if you like. But I choose that over an admin headache any day.
Was it important for you to have this parallel sister experience that I think was much more toxic than Josie's and Billy's relationship?
That was totally it. It was about like being like, I was very interested in showing a bit of Deb's background and like us getting a little window into like why she is the way she is, and like bringing in her sister was like a really fun way of like exploring that. And the actor Kate Fleetwood is just like incredible. Like she just came in and like this like huge matriarch, like she's just the most incredible actor. It was like an honor to work with her.
I love how Deb is kind of obsessed with James Bond. She compares both Deb and Graham to the famous spy.
Oh, thank you, Jamie.
Actually, I go by James now.
Well, like James Bond.
Why is 007 Deb's dream guy?
I think that she would like, she wants to be rescued deep down. She thinks she's like this, you know, fragile woman that needs to be rescued by this strong man. And I feel like for her, James Bond is like the strongest man she can think of who could like kill anyone or whatever. So I think for her, it's like, he's the archetype of like male power. And so like, I think she just, and also I don't think I've ever met a man who hasn't like loved the comparison to James Bond.
Well, Deb, what do you reckon? I can bald? For the first time in my life. Sexy, right? I know. I am your James Bond.
So I feel like Deb learned that and is just like peddling it to anyone. But yeah, I love that Deb is like obsessed with it too.
Well, I love Deb's journey throughout the 2 seasons. You know, as he gets more exposure to the women, his narcissism and toxicity seems to seep out of him. Were they always going to be his downfall?
I think so, because that's the same for every character. Because they're all similar in a way. They all have this like narcissism streak, but they're all out for themselves. So it's like making their goals, like, so they're chasing after something that's only for them, like self-serving. But he does become more and more like entangled in like the house, and like it's almost like the house is a poison to him, like makes him like become more similar to the girls.
Right. I love that it's like literally falling apart around their ears, you know, in season 2. And then also I had sort of a question. Is Deb employed? Does she have a job?
She does have a job, and one day we'll get to it. But one of the tweets I saw about the show on season 1 was, "What does Deb do?" And I love like reading that and being like, how can I subvert? So I was like, I'm never going to say. I'm not going to give them that. So that's something that I'll keep as a mystery, I think, until the time's right.
Another thing I loved, halfway through season 2, we learn that Nikki has told both Billy and Bianca that they sound like Amy Winehouse, which leads to a sing-off at that casino.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water. And I think of all the things what you're doing. And in my head, I paint a picture.
Where did these dueling Amy Winehouse impressions come from?
I think it came from like, Lizzie loves singing and she's really good. And she was like, her one request for season 2 was, can I sing in season 2? So I was like, never gonna let it be that it is genuine singing. So it kind of came from like thinking like, okay, how can I make that funny? Like, I think it should be in an imitation of someone famous. And like Amy Winehouse just felt like a funny, like, inspo for her, like, as someone, and we never let her watch any Amy Winehouse clips. So the impression is based on Lizzie's like hazy memory of like what Amy Winehouse might sound like. So that's why it's so strange.
Another thing I love about the show is the title sequence when you have the hair on the shower, wall. I think an image that any woman can relate to. Can you tell me how that title design came to be?
Well, it came from like, the bathroom of the show is like the Friends Cafe. Like, I feel like that's the epicenter of the show, is like kind of where all the scheming happens. Like, we always kind of cut back to the bathroom. So I kind of knew that I wanted it to be in the bathroom. And like, I just remember like when I was staying with Mum and my sister, like there would always be hair across the tiles, and I just thought it would be funny to be like, okay, could you do a word with that? And then we kind of like pitched it to an animator, and then she came back and showed us that she'd kind of done it, and it looked, I loved it. It was so great to have it kind of dripping down like the wall. So it kind of came from like, this show is like trying to show the grim reality of like being women and like living together. And so that was something I thought might be a good way of like quickly getting that across. So are you in or out, you know, because it's quite a disturbing image.
I do want to ask you about a potential season 3. Where do you see these girls going?
I don't know, because we leave on such a big cliffhanger at the end of 2.
We're going out the back door, girls.
So I think it will be about like, can we get the house back? I feel like that's the challenge, is working out how we get there, and like, is that what they want? Because they all act like they want to get out. It's a prison. So like, I think the question will be like, what happens if you have the opportunity to leave? Do you then stay or do you go? So I think that's kind of my question.